talking about your journey as a stylist in the film industry, how do you describe that? Working with so many eminent actors.
I think I'm very blessed, 100%. I got extremely lucky. Um, of course, I had to put in my amount of hard work and get, work for it. But I think somehow, somewhere, I really got lucky with the entire process. I started working in a time and space when styling was pretty brand new, and there was this little pocket, it's empty pocket, where I was able to plug in when I started working, because styling was per se a lot that Bombay was doing back then. When I started working styling,
Exactly, exactly.
it was a very Bollywood thing. It was not something that we were doing here. And so we were just, Telugu industry just had costume designers. They didn't have stylists. And a
Yeah,
stylist was someone who came from Bombay and was doing it. And
yeah,
I think it was meant to be me and Samantha meeting, or having my friends circle, and then us just doing the things we did, and the way it took
yeah.
off, the love that we got, and I think like it changed everything for me.
So I want to ask you something. When you people were starting this, like you said that there were no stylists, there were only costume designers in the Telugu film industry. You people, as women, as a stylist, as an actress, taking up something new, did you people doubt in what you're doing, or were you confident about it?
No, like doubted to another level. We knew like there were websites like Pink Villa and High Heel Confidential that were like really big. I mean, they're still big now, but when we used to open those websites, for us, it was always seeing all of these Bollywood actresses, what they were wearing, where they were going, and I'm like, how come none of us from here, like South, are on it? And in
Exactly.
fact, he used to be like, Sam, like it's like you've got enough followers happening, and you're pretty popular. Like, what's the problem? Like, why is it not really happening? And I know that it was not the exposure, like we were just not used to it down here. And I remember the first time we decided to even do this was for a film, I don't remember the year, but for Filmfare Awards. And Samantha was like, let's just, push the
She
envelopes.
wore, I think she wore a blue sari, a blue and black sari.
Gown, it's a blue gown.
Yeah,
It was,
blue gown.
and it was an international designer for the first time that we had chosen the first time around. But then we shifted our focus from international to local, and we were trying to do a lot of Hyderabadi designers to obviously Indian designers. But such a cool response we got, yeah, back then. Like, it was like, I remember just like some two teenage girls, like we were so excited rolling around her hotel room floor. We literally were like, we got on like high heel, and we were like, this is like, we were so excited. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, for me more than her, obviously, but that was the beginning of it, I think. And from then on, it was literally like, okay, now what? Now what? What next? What's the next event? And putting that thought and putting an output together. I think it just, no, there's no looking back at from that point for us.
So talking about the same point which you have mentioned, uh, you worked as a lyricist as well for the movie
Yeah.
Tikka. So can you talk about that? You're multi-talented. So
For 12 songs so far, actually. Tika was my first one. Then I think some Gautam Nanda happened. Then when Toli Premalo, the Ninila, me and Srimani wrote that song. So 12 songs and counting so far. And that was
oh
all.
wow.
I think thanks to Taman. Taman's my very, very close friend. And so for him, it's like I'm not a lyricist for him. He just picks up the phone and he goes, I'm sending you a song, just write something. So I don't fall under the typical lyricist bracket somehow. And as I should be better be getting, I better get paid for all of this that I'm doing. So it's just like we don't think like that. It's like for fun. He sends something over, and it's me just trying to see, okay, I do not know, I don't understand the meter, I don't understand the terminologies that an actual lyricist does, and they know. I literally I'm like one of those goats who just puts it on and like, like this sounds good over here, that sounds good. That's, see, I'm honest to God telling you, that's what it is for me. They tell me the little line or the story or the scene that's happening and the relevance of it, the song where it's going to be placed. And I think it's just, I rely a lot on my intuition and my sense, and I just start writing. So I don't know. Yeah, like I think not having a formal education and most of these things sort of helped me, I feel, because I was never constituted to a certain way of approaching anything. Like I know,
Same as you.
I don't know, like, see, I mean, I'm very fond of Ramjoy Shastri Garu or, Chandrabose Garu. I know them all personally. And I know, like, for me, when you got called a writer or a lyricist or any of those, as a matter of fact, I give it automatically comes with a bubble of respect for me. Like I'm a costume designer, stylist, but since somebody says I'm a writer or a director or an author, and all of these words somehow very heavy for me. I'm like, I put them in a
Exactly, because
bracket.
it
So
seems as a huge responsibility because these people have been the pioneers of the huge blockbusters, have given wonderful films to the film industry. So people who are the newcomers stepping in and trying to do the same thing which they did, but no, I think you must have been scared by their reaction or whatever.
scared even till this day. I mean, I know that what some song I wrote for fun, like Atika, to be my first one. I remember me and Taman were in Bombay for some other work. And during lunch, he was talking to me about this song, and I was like literally by the end of the lunch, I had finished writing this song, that Velli Poke song, and he didn't even tell me. He sent it to the director, and some 3-4 days later, he's like, "A guy called Sunil is going to call you. He's a director for this film." And I'm like, "Who?" I was like, "What?" And he's like, "You're going to go meet him at Annapurna. They're finishing that song. Just go do whatever corrections they require." And that's it. I just went, and that director was like, "We didn't have any corrections. We're sorted." And that song was finalized. And I'm like, okay, so that means my name is going to be like in lyrics. Like I had to double check, triple check. So this is actually happening. Like I'll be like, my song is actually going to be in a movie. And so it was very unreal, like, that it was fun. But yeah, that's the story of how it happened. And during the audio launch, I know me and Ramjo sir were sitting right next to each other, and he was asking me, "Neeru, you did the costumes for this film?" And I'm like, "No." And then he's like, "You wrote the lyrics," and somebody told him that I wrote the lyrics, and he was like, "I want to insist that I get on the stage to introduce you," and he did that. It was so sweet of him. He was the one who Sumagar, like he had gone up on the stage and he introduced me, and he was like, so I know all of these are people and things that I look up to, and so for me it was a really big deal to have started tracking into something that I know is not necessarily like a field. There are a lot of women, or there was like somebody like me who didn't qualify in my head to be doing all of that work. So somehow one to another, now 12 songs. I think I got very lucky again.
Yeah. So speaking about the point which you've told before, when it comes to creating something that is not existing in the market which is around you, so what do you like to say to somebody who is trying to create? You've tried to create a sense of passion. Someone might try to create something else which is not existent in their peer group, or the circle, or the organization they are working in. What do you like to say to creators like that when they are stepping up the game?
You have to believe in yourself first and foremost, and you need to there's something called that self-doubt that keeps popping its head up, and
Exactly.
somehow you need to have that conversation with you, not once, twice, but 100 times if need be, and push yourself. Not everything for anybody was new at some point. That's the only way I look
Yeah.
at it. Like, even the smartest guy on earth probably had his first struggles before he opened something up. And and I think we are part of the same thing. We all have to go through that, till that door, open that door to step into something, and that's the only time we know what's on the other side. And it's scary, and it's actually very scary, but you just have to believe that this is what you want to do. You'll know. Yeah, I think it's like a feeling from within. You just know. Before I wanted to, I know when I started writing, this is literally some 3.5 years ago, I decided I wanted to write a script. And I was so conscious to even mention the word script, that I want to write something to my friends like Samantha or Nani or Nitin. Like, I was like, they're going to laugh on my face if I even say the word script. Like, I'm like, they're like, what? You're not even qualified to, what are you going to write? Just because you wrote some 1-2 songs, suddenly now you think you, no, I imagine all of those. Okay. Nobody ever said that, but those are the things that I imagine someone's going to tell me when I tell about the decision about writing. And to my surprise, when I told Nani or Rakul or all of them, they in fact went on to say, "Why do you just want to write a script? Like, you should be directing it." If when they read a few of the scenes that I've written, they were like, the emotions and all, usually when a person who writes is able to better maybe portray it on. And I was like, this is probably a bigger joke, I thought at that point, and I didn't take it seriously. And cut to now, what, some 3.5 years ago, I've got some 6 bound scripts ready, and by next year is when I'm planning on getting into direction. And I know it's scary to another level. So I don't know. I'm just going with my gut instinct right now, pushing everything out there. Either I'll follow my face, and someone's gonna be like, "This one should have just done costume designing and just been happy with that," or someone's gonna say that she did a really, like, that she got really lucky and did something cool. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
So what genre can we expect from you?
I'm writing a lot of like romance and drama and emotion. There's one story with a father and son. It's a travel story. Um, there's one about twins, like 2 little kids. So I'm trying to play around with a lot more, like, lot of things and see what happens. There's one with the husband wife.
Yeah. So we, as like everyone in the club is in their 20s. So we were having a conversation with all the members of the club yesterday. So there was something we were attracted to so much, which is peer pressure. Me as an art student and my editor as an art student had happened to have a conversation about why do people in their 20s take their life so seriously instead of being happy. There is so much of pressure from the society, being a girl, being a man, with the career you do, with the path you take, or are you going to monetize on that? Are you going to get money? Are you going to be settled? What if it's going to be a flop? It must have happened to Samantha as well, to be very honest. She must have had those moments, but look at her now.
Okay, breaking news, guys. I'm 37 and that feeling never goes away. So, and I don't think it'll ever go away. So if you, just because you're in 20s, I'm telling you, this is life and it's not going to end anytime soon. We are going to be feeling the sort of pressure we do. And that's what I was telling you. Sam, including Sam, I mean, name the person who you think is probably in your ideology, the one you look up to, or the one who you look as the most beautiful or the successful one, or all of those jazz. I can guarantee you they wake up with their own set of insecurities or their own set of questions. There is, all we do is we strive to feel better, like be a little bit more optimistic rather than choosing to be pessimistic. And you have to step out there and just see, because I know for a fact, I mean, I've gone through it myself personally. I go through it personally on rare occasions, and I think I've gotten a little better at dealing with it. Yeah, when I was in 20s, I probably tortured myself a lot more compared to now that I'm literally knocking on 40s pretty soon. So I'm pretty sure I'm getting to learn a little bit more about myself. But the self-doubt is a good thing. Like, learn, that just means that we are trying to put ourselves in a place that we've not been before. You are an individual, you have to understand the importance of what you are and who you are. I remember reading a quote, I think a very, very long time ago. Your superpower is you. You being you is your own superpower. Is nothing more individualistic other than the fact that you are you. Nobody can be you and nobody can imitate you or do anything like you. So we got to understand that part of it. And it's great to have inspiration from like different people and look up to people, but end of the day, the minute you need to start looking within, you are the one who needs to be motivated by yourself. And I believe in that. I believe in all of those little things, that the importance of waking up and having a positive outlook towards the day is so important. It just adds on that extra round of confidence